Hi there, I'm Stacey and I am a Heilkunst practitioner, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about what Heilkunst is. So let's start with the word Heilkunst. What's the deal with the word? I get asked that a lot. So basically, Heilkunst is a German word, and it means to render whole. And there isn't an equivalent in the English language, so it stayed German. So Heilkunst originated in Germany in the 1700s. Samuel Hahnemann, he was a doctor, and back then he was disillusioned with the medical practices of the time. So he basically left his practice and committed to studying and understanding medicine in a new, healthy way. And he developed homeopathy. And so Hahnemann, he was ahead of his time back then, and so we didn't fully grasp what he was teaching us. And so classical homeopathy was born, and it was a very one-sided approach to homeopathy. Fantastic for first aid and things like that, but very limited in treating more complex diseases. And so Hahnemann actually ended up having to go underground back at the end of his career because he was thinking dynamically and people couldn't really understand it. And so that thread has been kept alive throughout time, and it's just been, in the last 20 years that Heilkunst was born. And so Heilkunst is basically homeopathy taken to new depths and new levels, new heights, and we didn't really understand what homeopathy could really do for us. So Heilkunst is basically a sequential form of treatment. So that means that we're treating things in order. So basically, kind of a simplified description of this would be that we treat people for, first we start with what's called the traumatic timeline. So we treat people for physical and emotional traumas that a person's gone through in their lifetime. Because when a person has gone through a lot of traumas, basically it's like shrapnel that lodges itself in our life energy, and these things accumulate and they accumulate and accumulate, and they deplete our health, they weaken our health going forward. And so basically what we're doing is using homeopathic remedies according to the law of similars, which is a natural law, to remove that shrapnel, to resolve those traumas. And we start with the most recent or the most significant, and we work our way backwards to birth, just peeling the layers of the onion basically. And so people start to these issues that they've had start to fall away, both mentally, emotionally, and physically, which is amazing. And so once we've treated the timeline, we move on to what's called the chronic miasms. Now, the chronic miasms are chronic inherited diseases that get passed down. So a lot of the chronic miasms started off as infectious diseases. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And they can get passed down through 7 generations. So let's use the example of inherited tuberculosis. So if someone in your family history had tuberculosis going back 7 generations, it can get passed down to you. So the most common physical characteristic with inherited tuberculosis is obviously lung issues. So things like asthma, chronic bronchitis, frequent pneumonia, things like that are related to inherited tuberculosis. And with all of the chronic miasms, there's also a unique state of mind that goes along with it. So a person with a lot of inherited tuberculosis would have a sense of restlessness. So they hate anything constricting or confining. So they'll do things like, change jobs a lot, or move houses a lot, or they will travel a lot, or take different routes to work because they want, a change, or they will move their furniture around, things like that. So that's just the restlessness manifesting. So with all of the 8 chronic miasms, there's 8 of them. There's physical characteristics as well as a unique state of mind. So if a person doesn't have the physical symptoms, you can see it in their state of mind, which is really neat. So after we're done treating the timeline, then we treat the chronic miasms, the chronic inherited diseases. After the chronic miasms, we go into what's called the chthonic realm. So the chthonic realm is the realm of our deepest fears. Okay, so these fears basically keep us from living our life the way we want to be living them. And then we treat what's called the ideogenic realm. Now, the ideogenic realm is the realm of false beliefs. So, core beliefs like, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not I don't belong, things like that. So all of these disease states basically affect our state of mind. They also affect our physical health. And so once we remove them, we're starting to be able to make decisions more in alignment with our healthy, self-regulating person. And so we start to live a more resonant, more expansive, more joyful, more passionate life. And so all these things, all these physical things that are hindering us, all these states of mind, these fears, these limiting beliefs that are preventing us from living what we call our objective desire function. And it's basically a very unromantic way of saying your soul's purpose. So all these things start to fall away so that you can become more in alignment with your objective desire function. Okay, so that's basically a very basic outline of Heilkunst. And so if you want to know more about it, I'll go a little more in depth. You can go further down on the page, and I'll also talk about what I personally specialize in as a Heilkunstler to see if we'd be a good fit for working together. Thanks for watching and have a great day.